Okay, thank you everyone for being here today. We are going to start a session about paperwork and how to file those paperwork. But also, we're going to talk about the why. Why they go in a file, why they should be in a file, and why we need to put them in an order that is in a checklist. So, what I thought we can do is we're going to look the tabs and understanding which one and then why things need to be there. If you have questions, if you don't mind to write that down in a sticky note, so we can read them at the end, if it's okay. This way, everybody who's going to watch this video later will be able to hear our questions. No questions is silly. It's important to ask because we want to make sure our files are outstanding when come to do the monitor. So let's start. And then most of you going to know those tabs that I'm going to sign. As I kind of coach you and teach you how to do this, I'm going to also say what we are seeing in the files, then you want to get better, okay? If you do want to ask questions as we go, it's okay. I can come to you if the sticky note is not working. Do you guys want to do sticky notes or do you want to ask questions as we go? Sticky notes? As we go? What is the hands? As we go. Okay. Give me time them to come to you with a microphone so we can hear the question and then we can answer. Okay? Okay, this is the first page. All the tabs, they are numbered. They are tabs 1 to 7. Okay, so the first one is the confidential case note. That is all the time when you open the file, you should be dating, sign, and put it what you're doing in that file. That is a oops? No? And it's okay to be a oops. What happened is, why did we want to document that what you will file? You put your DECA there, you put your Denver there, you put your whatever you are filing. You want to make sure a month from now, that is a documentation, then you file that paperwork. Okay? So what I'm seeing some files are most of the fax signing, and I don't see the teacher signing. And I know you file paper there because I see the paperwork there. So it will be even better when you say file, put DECA Denver, home visit, parent-teacher conference, right? You can say PTC for parent-teacher conference, but you should be doing file all the time. This page should be look very busy because we always doing something in the files, right? So teacher, teacher assistant, fax, management, we all sign this. When I go check the files, I sign my name and I circle monitoring. And I will say 90 days monitoring because this is a documentation. Are we all good on this? Yes, question.
So if it is the home visit packet or like the parent-teacher conferences packet, we don't have to name each form right there as PT.
I really think it will if you say home visit, we know then there's a parent guide, your parent commitment and everything. Home visit packet, parent-teacher conference forms, home visit forms. That should be okay on that. We don't want to make you guys away from this. We want to make you guys making sure you are filing those papers and documented and you are filing those papers. And we know what the home visit packet looks like. By your DECA, your Denver, your portfolio. So all those things should be letter ID. You should be saying, I did it and I filed this documentation. For those who are in Head Start for a long time, you guys know that if you don't document it, it's not done. So let's say you file something and then for some reason it's not that anymore. How are you going to prove you filed? If you didn't sign it and you didn't document it, what you did, right? So this file here, I want you guys to be very comfortable. This is called the URSIA tab, okay? This is the second tab in the file. You most likely don't go there much because that's what we set up. But I want to empower you to take the ownership to know that one paper that is very important to be there is the birth certificate. So if you and your fax and your site to make sure it looks good, make sure we have the birth certificate. This is why I highlight the birth certificate right there. We check for this all the time, but I still see things missing when I go there. So I want to say this file has to, and if you know things and it's missing, talk to your fax, talk to your program manager. So right here for enrollment date, the fax must put a date there for the enrollment date. It's a license compliance that we have. It needs to be a date there. If a file is transferred, we should be saying transfer from when to where. Okay, so the fax usually take care of that. If you notice it's missing, your team, you can talk to your fax about this. So you should have the letter, then the child was accepted, the Child Plus application. I'm going to show you what it looks like. You must have the birth certificate there. And then we have a consent releases there. Then there is a general consent release. I want you to understand when the parents sign up the child, they agree with several policies and procedures. So those policies and procedures are located in the consent release. They agreed and they're just going to release a child to a person who is in the contact information. So it's right there. If you want to see if a parent says, I don't know, it's right there, right? Screening release is what we use for the nurse. And then the operation signing is what we use for the vision screening. Like I said, when you get your files, this is set up for you. But it doesn't hurt to make sure you have the child's birth certificate. This is tab 2. This is URSIA tab. For you, if you don't know what URSIA is the department that select the kids and monitor the attendance, okay? So URSIA is eligibility, recruitment, selection, and attendance. So this is why we monitor attendance, because we want to make sure the kids are attending the program. And this is the tab then is responsible for the kids' selection. But for you, I would say, look if you have the birth certificate, if you really want to make sure those files are there. So tab 3, you guys file in this tab, right? The tab 3 is the fax tab. So what I'm seeing happen here for you, what you file is you file the parent guide receipt, right? The one you do at the home visit. And we're going to see those papers here. Okay, I've got the files here for us to look at it and see how we file those papers. The parent commitment, that's what you do at the home visit, is filed right here. And the volunteer form is filed right here. What did I see happening? This is a tab that you share with your fax. So sometimes those papers are filed in the top of everything. Or they're filed in the back of everything. Not in your site, but they happen in some sites, and maybe you don't know, then this is the order that is supposed to be filed. So it's a reason why we need to set up and file this way. It's much easier to file in the top, but when we go check your files, it has to be in this order, okay? So any questions about this tab here? Okay. So we're going to do the tabs, and then we're going to go look at other things in a little bit. Tab 4. You also file in this tab 4, right? This is called communication, right here the name, in transportation tab. So what it needs to be there is your contact information of 1520 up to date. All the time in your fax do a COS, they need to give you a new 1520 up to date, and it has to be filed. Any COSs, any notes from home, your accident incident reports go here. And then you guys notice sometimes it's 2-ply, right, or 3-ply, I'm not quite remember. So take that apart, because one goes to your program manager and the other one goes in a file. Parent notification form. I'm going to make sure you guys know what it looks like. This is a form that when a family or a child is returned to school, we have to do this paperwork with the family. So this is how it tracks how many times the child is late and how many times the child returned to school on a bus. So if you don't know about this form, we can be training a little bit more about this form, but it's not only done by the FACS, it's done by the teachers as well if you are at your site. So if you have a parent that is always late, if you don't track that down, and then you're going to need to meet with that family, how are we going to document it? Then it was 3 times, 30 minutes after the time they were supposed to be picked up. That makes sense? So that form needs to be done for late or for returning kids to the school. If your FACS are in your building, most likely they will take care of that. If you are in a single site, you should have this form to do this form as well, okay? If it's news for you, we can just let your program manager know, hey, I need to know more about this form, and then we will do that training. Transportations, policies, and procedures, that is the form that you do at the home visit, and the parents initial and sign. I'm not seeing a lot of problems when I check those files on those. Kind of few of them was upside down or backwards, but I think it's probably someone filed too fast. And I thought I didn't have a signature, so now I look in the back, the signature was there. Transportation enrollment form, that is always going to be there. It's done at the beginning of the school year. It's already there for you, enrollment information. So you're not going to go here much. What you're going to probably file a lot is incident reports, the parent notification, and the notes from home. The FACS most likely will file the 1520. One is an update there. Any questions in this one? As you can see, this is transportation tab. So let's go to the health tab. Does anyone kind of ever open the health tab and look at the health tab? So what can we find there that is important for you? You're not going to file much here, but you should be trying to figure if your child has a healthcare plan. That paper has to be signed for you, and it has to be on the file, okay? And it's just complete for you to know if everything is signed. That means the nurse, yourself, your FACS, everybody should be signed. You need to be aware if your child has medication and they have a permission for medication, so the file is there. Enough if the medications expire for the child. And the food allergy. You all want to be aware if the child has food allergies, right? So those papers are filed here. Most likely your FACS are the one that file those, but it's okay for you to kind of take a look on here if you want to. So this tab, you're not going to go that much, I believe, to file, right? Is that correct? So the next tab you going to file here quite is the assessment tab. So I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about the why the paper needs to be there and the order that the paper needs to be there. You guys see, can I put a little bit of more information here? So screening summary, that all your files should have that at this point because it's done at the parent-teacher conference, right? So that paper is tracked and required by HHS to know for us to track if this paper is done, because we need to talk about the screenings with the parents. So this is what I put there. It's done at parent-teacher conference, and this is a PIR questions. Does anyone know here what a PIR question is? It's okay not to know because it's a language and we probably don't hear much. So PIR, Program Information Record. This is how we get funding, okay? This is how we tell at the end of the year to the government, I have 20 kids and my 20 families get a parent-teacher conference. And then my 20 kids who get a parent-teacher conference, I told them about the screening summary. I told them that they passed the DECA, that they passed the Denver and all that. So when you go check your file, for parent-teacher conference, the paper needs to be there because we are counting and we are reporting. So this is why your fax go to you and ask about your schedule for parent-teacher conferences, how many is done, because they need to go in the system and click that question. Did we discuss the summary with the parents? Okay? Height and weight is a 45 days requirement. And then the procedure then we do this is, you guys do the height and weight, you send that to Anna, she put that in a system, then we print the report and you file. And we count for the 45 days, okay? So the other one is the vision screening. So this is all PIR questions, all 45 days requirements. So if it's missing, it's not done, you need to keep talking to your program manager, your fax, and say, okay, this needs to be done. What are we gonna be doing right here? It's done in most sites by Lions Club, and it's filed most of the time by the fax. But if it's not there, it should be everyone's business to say it's not here, what are we gonna be doing about this, okay? So then you have your hearing, then it's done most of the time in some sites by the school system, or it's done by Well Child Exam. Then it's gonna come where we're gonna be filing most of your paperwork here. The speech, right? Then it's done in most of the school corporations by special ed, but if special ed doesn't do the speech, your Denver is covering that portion of the language speech for us. And this is 45 days. So it means if you didn't do your Denver, then that is gonna be missing for your 45 days. It makes sense? And then when you say do the Denver, is do the Denver and then file the Denver, right? And then you know you have to send that information to Ursia to be entered in a system. So the DECA is a teacher DECA and is a parent DECA. Both are compliance for us. We need to have both on there. So if you don't have the DECA parent there, we need to make sure we get that one done. And we like you to put the dates. So you check mark those things and you date it when you file. And remember, the first page, you say file the DECA, right? And then this way we keep tracking. Your call report needs to be there, and then you date it when you file, and your portfolio as well. It kind of make a difference between Head Start and Old Head Start, what it looks like, the portfolio, but all those needs to be there. Letter ID is there too. So all this is you file, and it's important for you to file in this order. When we check your files, we go this way, speech, DECA. So if it's not there, then we're gonna be looking for, and then it's gonna be in a different tab, and we're gonna say it's not there. And trust me, yesterday I did find some files that need some work, but because we all new and we are learning, right? But if we making sure those files looking in order, it will help everybody to make sure we count it at 45 days. Do you have a question? It's okay. I'm going to repeat the question. Is that okay? I will see how this.
I just wanted you to also speak to, because I know documents, if they're not completed, like if your Denver isn't scored and then
Yeah.
class lunch.
So that's a good point. One thing is you have the paper there, but you're missing something in that paper. Most of the times in the DECA, believe it or not, it's missing the date, then you did the DECA. Without that date, we cannot enter that information. So, and I know home visits, you go fast and you go to all the paperwork and you probably skip some steps to do. But when you send it, if it's not completed, it's not, we can't do nothing with that paper. So the same thing, this is the DECA. Most of the things is missing who did it and the date it was done.
Sometimes the box, one box is.
Yes, the box they skip to check. That come back, and that hits out on the 45 days. And then, like I said, is At the end of the year, our system, Child Plus, calculates everything that we did on time. And if you didn't do 45 days on time, we're going to have to say why. We already have to do this year, so I really don't want to do next year. So if we all make sure, if you have a new student, as soon as that student sit in your classroom, all this clock start ticking. The Denver, if it's not a score, you did we saw some without the line, or we saw something without the date, or we saw something without the results. So it cannot count, right? So if you're not quite sure, just ask your program manager, because you put the paper there, but it's not going to count because it's not complete. So it has to be meaningful. It makes sense? Does that answer your questions, Ms. Gill? Kind of clarify? And this is more, the development milestones is more for early Head Start and CCP. The Head Start doesn't do this paperwork here. Let's see, this is tab 5, and this is the assessment tab. All the assessments are going to be filed here. So you guys thought to just have the educational tab, huh? It's not, you have a little bit more than educational tab to take a look. Okay, let's talk about this one. This is the file. So your 45 days here, your individualization plan, it hits your 45 days too, because how are you going to assess the child, right, if you don't know? Again, signatures, and you guys know this, if you put just the dreams and hopes there and you don't kind of describe that, it's also is not going to be counting. But I want to talk about the beginning. It was a confusion this year because we have social and emotional survey twice. Did you guys notice that? Yeah. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, exactly. So it is supposed to be an up here together with disability and social and emotional and SETS, because the social and emotional form is to give us an idea about the child's behavior, the child's development. So if you take the time to look at it, you're going to see, is this child potty training? How is the bedtime for this child? So this give you a lot of good information. What your child does when they get upset or frustrated. So parents writing down there, they turn themselves on the floor, they run. So it's information and it's good for you to know. So it's here. So when you file your parent-teacher conference, I have been moving some of them up as I go, and we're trying to correct that mistake. Speech reports, it is going to be called your IEP or your IFP for Early Head Start. Why did you care about see if you have one? First of all, it has to be up to date. It's expired after 1 year. So if you have an IEP, you should be looking the date of the case conference. And also, it's a paper, then you should be looking to do your individualization. So if you have a child and don't have an IEP and you know this child has an IEP, you need to let your program manager know, because we need that documentation and we need to make sure it's on file. So you need to know if your child has an IEP, okay? Any SET meeting, you guys know the SET is Student Assistant Team meeting, is one, any meeting that we do with another manager to address a concern or a problem. Is not only for behavior, it could be for other things as well, and it goes right here. Parent consent form, this is more like when Christina, mental health, will go and have to develop some kind of behavioral plan. Then you're going to put it right here. Behavioral report, I believe you guys, if you do conscious discipline or have some report, then it goes there. Mental health referrals is there as well. So this is a lot of mental health and disability, but you can look at that documentation, or yeah, sometimes you're going to file documentation here as well. So then we go to your education. So your individualization plan, your signatures, your home visit verification form. I see just a few of those papers ended up in the social service tab, and I think it's just a confusion right there. most of it in the right place, but also the way then you put your parent-teacher verification form. It should go after your home visit verification form. It makes sense. It go the way then is listed here, not in the top. Safety SAM goes there. And in one paper, then this year again, we did late, and some people is getting confused what to do, is a child family cultural language survey. That you remember that paper came late and you said, try to do this at home visit, or try to do this at parent-teacher conference. That paper is a require because we have to address dual language. And we have to know if the parent or child, what kind of language they speak at home. That paper also tell if this family has a different belief or religion. So you should be looking at that paper because some parents tell us, I do not want my child in Christmas celebration. And we need to make sure we understand that, you acknowledge that, okay? Yes?
Under the mental health tab, is that for speech as well, like any
Yes,
referrals?
yes. Everything is mental health / disability. Like your referrals then you do for language, it should go there. So you should put, and it's important to put that referral that, sign up, then you did it, when you did it, because it's tell a record, a tracking story when that was done. Another thing too, we need the enrollment date here. I see a lot of missing enrollment date. This is requirement in the name of the child. The facts at the beginning of school year set up the file, and I don't know why some skip this tab. I have been trying to write the name and the enrollment date as I see. So this is the tab. So now I want to try to show you, see if I can go here. The same way that the tabs are lined up, your file assessments is going to be lined up, okay? So give me a minute here for me to go back there. Okay, I have this open already. Let me show you this. Okay, let's put, like, when we do the application, all this information here, then it's for income information, they all stay in the office in South Bend. What you're going to see in your file is this. Sometimes it looks different. This is the Child Plus application. This is going to be in your second tab, right? This is the paper, then you probably don't go there much. And then, okay, sorry about that. So you're going to see your Child Plus application. The fax does this piece here. You may see something like this. Then if a child is a foster child, that it's okay to replace birth certificate. And if your child is not a foster child, you must have the birth certificate. Your immunizations. This is what I talk about. This is the consent release. I see something very wrong in this one. Can you tell me what you see? Huh? Can you tell me what you see here? So this is giving permission for the child to do the Denver, the DECA, you know, give permission for us to do first aid if needed. They don't say yes or no. Look at how wrong this is. Because if your facts don't catch that and you catch that, that has to be taken care. Because, and then right here, look, it say then, I'm just going to release the child is at the bottom. So this is a policies and procedures right here. We're just going to, in the initial, right, but they didn't never circle yes. So this is a big problem. And then it say here that, you know, we're only going to release a child for your contact release information. If your child is undeliverable, we're going to call, so all our policies, we're going to call CPS. So this has to be taken care. We usually address that issue. I put it here when we kind of do the application and you notice this was incomplete. But if for reason that up in our classroom, for sure, we need to address this. This is the other paper. I don't know if you see much, but it's permission for us to do screenings. This is all in the tab, then you don't touch much. And I told you just to look for the birth certificate. There's the vision screening, permission. And this is what the social emotional survey looks like. I have some people confused on the social emotional survey and the cultural language survey. So the social emotional is going to be asked questions about, like this child here, what they're saying. They're in pull-ups, right? So he wake up early, and then he doesn't tell much for us, but it talks about the child talks, he's independent. And then the mom seek aggressive. Don't you want to know a little bit about that? Is to talk to her about it when you do the home visits, because you're going to have that information on the file. Did you ever think about looking those forms in that level? It will help even do something there. But it's file, like we say, in social emotional, okay? And this is what it looks like. Your health history is here. And mom checked something interesting here. What did she check for us here? Yeah. It's right here to check speech. Is a yes. Most of the parents is not an IP, but it's a concern. And you have that in your file. This is a good start conversation when you do your individualization plans. You can look on that. This is in the health tab. Fatherhood is important information to see if the family has a father. If this is in the father figure. This is in the social service tab when you file your parent commitment, okay? This is what the transportation, you're not gonna touch this form, but it's gonna be right there on the file when you receive the file. This is when the parents request transportation or not. So this is how you got the form and you set up the file and you start building the other things in the file. So now, let's look at 45 days, and I want you to tell me if it makes sense, why did we have to file in order and have all those papers done and on a time matter. And I have this paper for you. I'm going to give this to you. This is how the file, you know what it looks like, because you get those little tiny boxes and you want to try to read what is missing. But look at this. It starts with what? The letter. It starts with exactly we file there. And then Child Plus application, birth certificate. So if you file in a wrong spot, we're not going to be looking for that. We're going to be looking in that order. It makes sense? Insurance, then service notes, then right here, look, your parent commitment, your parent guide is in the same order of the checklist. So we go and check in the same way than we are looking here. In your educational, the same thing. Speech, Denver, DECA. Everything that is in yellow is your 45 days. Everything is in green is your 90 days, okay? So I notice a lot of times, then sometimes we make this little pretty folder to do a home visit in a parent-teacher conference, and they don't end it up in the children's folder, right? So, and or you put a folder in front of this folder, and then you put the file, the papers that need to be filed there. So if it comes to 45 days or 90 days and the files are not here, we cannot count. It makes sense? So it's very, very important that you have your paperwork file. And this is going to be a system that you need to develop on this, okay? So I saw some teachers take the paper out and then put it back. I saw some teachers just using the file here. Just be aware that the paperwork should be always here in this file. So I have the tabs. What we would like to do is making sure we're going to put tab 1, and then what are we doing in tab 1? You're always going to do what in tab 1? signing in and see what you're filing right there, right? So tab 2 is the ERSIA tab. And that tab, I just asking you guys, take a look in the birth certificate if it's there. It should be there, especially if you're licensed. And across the board, the birth certificate should be there. So this next tab here, I kind of have to memorize, is the social service tab. And then I'm going to do this. I think it'll be better. And each one of you are going to have a folder. This folder, then this plastic, this leaf, then I put it together. It have the tabs, and then I highlight, and then I kind of put it together. Hey, this is 45 days. This is PIR. For you to know, then you need this. Okay. Do you think that helped you? Okay. So anyway, so the third tab, so each tab has the papers that belong to that tab. So if we move around, it's kind of complicated for us to find the tabs, okay? So, and this next one here then is the assessment tool. So when we go to your file, we kind of mark down here, and it calculates a percentage. I'm going to just say two things. One thing is the paper there, and the other thing is the paper is complete right. So you may have a discrepancy, and oh, the paper was there, but it was incomplete. That means what? Missing a date, or missing a box, a little box that we didn't track, and that paper was never entered, okay? So I'll give you this for you to keep for yourself. Any questions so far for this?